Ye shall have a song in the night, when a holy solemnity is kept, and gladness of heart, as when one goeth with a pipe to come into the mountain of the Lord, to the mighty one of Israel. And the Lord shall cause his glorious voice to be heard, and shall show the lighting down of his arm. He brings his arm down. With the indignation of his anger, and with the flame of a devouring fire, with scattering and tempest and hailstones. For through the voice of the Lord shall the Assyrian be beaten down, which smote with a rod. And in every place where the grounded staff shall pass, which the Lord shall lay upon him, it shall be with tabrets and harps, and in battles of shaking, with fighting in it. So he goes on and describes all the destruction that will come. All the mighty wrath, and yet at the same time, in the midst of this, he's got a people that will gather together and worship and hear his voice. The voice of God is so awesome, not only in that it is still a small and whispering voice, but also in what he says. And boy, we sure do need him. This world's gone nuts, I'm telling you. It has gone crazy. You know, I just grabbed a couple things. I like to do this every so often, grab a couple of news events, in case you may not have heard. And where I get these things, in case you're wondering, is most of this is from foreign newspapers. Australia, England, France, different places like that. There's a French news service called AFP, and Obama, who won the Peace Prize for doing nothing. He did nothing. In fact, he's orchestrating 2 wars right now. And he was bragging about it. When he gave his acceptance speech for the Peace Prize, he said, this is the first time a recipient of the Peace Prize ever got a Peace Prize while fighting 2 wars. But now he's renamed the Iraq War. He's now calling it Operation New Dawn. Why? Well, because Iraq is the gateway to Armageddon. They believe that after a catastrophe that engulfs the world, the new world will arise from the ashes. It'll be a new dawn. You see, Iraq is ancient Babylon. Iran is ancient Persia. Remember the order in Daniel 7? First, we had Babylon, then Medo-Persia, then Greece. Now the European Union is thrusting Greece out. It's used as an example of a country that is, it's a trigger point actually, sending havoc throughout the European Union so that it'll force the coming of the new economic system, the computerized Mark of the Beast system. Greece is broke. And Angela Merkel got up and said, we're not helping them. They can get out. They took their voting rights away. So there's Greece. Now, what's left after those 3? Before the new dawn supposedly hits. Then comes the revived Roman Empire. The powers of Europe around the Mediterranean Sea rising up. It's all prophesied long ago, and it's happening right now. Here's another little thing. It says 1,000 architects and engineers are calling for a new 9/11 investigation. 1,000 architects and engineers saying, this thing was done by us. Not the Arabs, not the Iraqis. It was an inside job, and it was brought down not with airplanes, but with bombs. Now, how many architects and engineers are going to have to come forth? And they're demanding that they're all getting together. 1,000 of them. You know, and I've been saying this since it happened. And anybody who's watched it could see that this thing was orchestrated. You could see the explosions on every floor as the thing came down. Fell straight downward, and George W. Bush and Dick Cheney orchestrated this whole thing. They planned it all ahead. That's right, your president and your vice president of that time destroyed those towers and killed all those people to thrust us into a war. It was all part of the plan. They're playing a big monopoly game for real, aren't they? A lot of people don't want to believe that. But the evidence is there. And I'm thankful that 1,000 of these architects and engineers have spoken out and said, hey, we're going to get to the bottom of this now. But here's a little deal. This will really illustrate. Remember I said the nation's going mad, the world's going crazy? Well, here is a little article, again from AFP, French News Service. You have to go overseas to find out what's going on over here. Because they're not going to tell you the truth in this media. They're all in with the Chicago underworld of Obama's and Obama and Rahm Emanuel's little world there, Chicago gangland underworld. Compared to them, Al Capone was a Sunday school teacher. I mean, these guys are rotten to the core. Anyway, here's a little article that says our Justice Department, U.S. Justice Department, is seeking lawyers with mental retardation. They got 10 openings. If you're a lawyer and you're mentally retarded, they'll hire you. Can you believe this? This came out of Washington. It says, in an ostensible attempt to create a non-discriminatory application process, the Department of Justice is inviting candidates with mental retardation to pursue attorney posts. A DOJ job listing at its official site reveals that its Civil Rights Division is seeking 10 experienced trial attorneys for its voting section in Washington, D.C., and is encouraging qualified applicants with targeted disabilities to apply. The targeted disabilities it mentions include mental retardation and mental illness. And I have no doubt they'll find them. As I said, the world's going crazy. And now if you're crazy, you're one step up toward a government job. I remember during the Vietnam War back in the late 1960s, people all over were trying to dodge the draft and get out of going in. And one guy that I know of actually put on women's underwear to his draft physical. And they rejected him. You're out of here. Now if somebody did that, they'd put him in officer training school. Even the don't ask, don't tell thing is gone. Now they want you to flaunt it. It's really bad. It's gone, really. We just have to look for the Lord to come. But as I said, it's the voice of God, not only that the fact that he's so delicate in his voice toward those that he loves and toward his people, but it's what he says. He is so incredibly kind to us. Let's turn over to John 8. I've only got a few minutes left, but in John chapter 8, just the first few verses, it tells us, Jesus went in unto the Mount of Olives, and early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came unto him, and he sat down and taught them. Here's the whole temple full of people. And Jesus is teaching them. Picture this now. Again, you'd have to have been there. Temple full of people. And I would have liked to have been there. And the scribes and the Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they say unto him, Master. Now isn't that amazing? Even the Pharisees and Sadducees called him Master. And he is the master of all things. Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned, but what sayest thou? I want to tell you something here. Several things need to be dealt with. Quite obviously, these Pharisees had set her up. Where was the man?